Yeah, you go ahead and do that.
Oh, this is...
We're gonna do this.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ah.
Chris is 5 seconds away from officially doing it.
Justin, what? Oh, God!
Oh, no! It was cursed. It was cursed.
Somebody come here and bring me back up.
I think that Geonosian just teabagged you.
I think he did too. The good news, though, you go away. Get through the door, guys. We'll heal up on the other side.
Beautiful.
I hate Geonosians. They just take so much. They take so much damage. But I think some of it's that their hitbox either goes away or moves when you're firing at them from
a specific angle.
No, like when they're flying, because they're like This is the era before like hit registration really became a thing.
Oh, here we go. This is where the fun begins. I'm not sure how much celebration news that you followed. But off the turret.
Yeah.
But Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor were on one of the panels, and toward the end of it, you know, they were partying. They weren't even supposed to be on the panel because I guess they did a lot of that during Celebration. They just panel hopped. Because who doesn't want to see Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor show up in the middle of nowhere? But it got to the point they were signing off, and Hayden said something like, "This is where the fun begins," and the crowd just exploded.
Loses their shit?
Yes.
Yes.
The prequels really, you know, I love them as a kid. It's really true. It's like the era of Star Wars you grow up on. So it's like, you know, these kids nowadays, they're growing up on the sequels. And for me, really though, Star Wars, I loved the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was the prequels. These were movies that were coming out as I was, you know, coming of age, a wee lad, and getting to really see Star Wars. Yeah, that was a heck of a fight. Star Wars in that kind of atmosphere was mental, and I think the prequels aged like fine wine.
Get better over time.
Yeah, they did. They really did. I mean, some of the dialogue's still rough. That was never George Lucas's strong suit as a director. But some of the just visual effects that we got in the prequels, I think, are still unmatched.
The fact that the pod race is all miniatures.
And the fact that you have Jar Jar as the first CGI character, fully CGI character.
That's right, he was, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to say it's like that I age like fine wine. I think it's that people want to go like the original movies were these like great, and it's like no they aren't. Like go back and watch those movies like as movies, and most people tell you they're not. They're okay. Like it's you have to like enjoy them in order to really like them. And it's not necessarily something that like for everybody. And I think especially when the new movies came out, it's like, okay, there are things about them that I really don't like, but it doesn't mean that the movies are bad. And I think it's just gonna end up and be kind of like the prequels where it's like, okay, give it like 3 or 4 years. Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I'm inclined to agree with you for episodes 4 and 6. For me, Empire Strikes Back, from a movie standpoint, I think I could watch that all day.
Oh, I could easily watch that one all day.
Just because I think, especially in terms of sequels, Empire did so much well between, I guess, just the pacing of the movie, the different locations. I mean, the jaw-dropping Darth Vader, "I am your father" reveal, legendary among cinema, in my opinion. But I'm also a biased Star Wars fan, so I guess it's hard to see it through the lens of just a regular moviegoer.
Like a movie fan, I think that's part of what colors a lot of it. 'Cause it's like people didn't like Ahsoka, because I will say the first Clone Wars movie before the series like became a thing.
Terrible.
Oh god,
Awful.
But it had a lot of like, it was like, oh, look at Christopolis, look at this planet that we've never seen anything like before.
And I feel like, it's funny you mentioned that, because I guess it feels like a prequel movie almost, because yet again you have an Obi-Wan character that has to absolutely carry the movie itself. Because I think, I'm not sure if I'm alone in this thinking, but James Arnold Taylor, who came back to voice Obi-Wan, even though he voiced him in 2003, and then voiced him for the new Clone Wars series, was fantastic in that movie. And that was really about all I liked from the original Star Wars movie. It's to the point where whenever I go back to watch things in order, just because I'm a huge sequential order kind of person when it comes to Star Wars, I need to watch things from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even watch the Clone Wars movie anymore. If I'm watching things in order, I go, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and then I'll just start with Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the first season, because I can't really bear to watch that movie anymore. It was cool, and I guess it was kind of cool when it came out. I remember it being
seeing it in theaters was cool.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, we're getting I remember getting hated on because it was just an animated Star Wars movie, and like, well, we've already seen the Clone Wars. And I'm like, but like, the stories of the Clone Wars, I think, are the things that you want, and being able to see clones, like.
And up until that point, the Clone Wars, yes, we got Attack of the Clones, and it introduces the galaxy-wide conflict to us, but there was so much unknown through it all. Because you make that, you make Attack of the Clones, and Attack of the Clones was what, 2002, right? I believe. It was, Phantom Menace was at 1999, Attack of the Clones was 2002, Revenge of the Sith was 2005. In A New Hope, you have, Sir Alec Guinness talk about the Clone Wars. And only a couple of lines of dialogue, but it sets up this huge, mysterious conflict that didn't get explored until, probably comics of the 90s or so?
From what I've been told, and this is a lot of hearsay. So one of the things that we've kind of run into nowadays, do you remember, and you might have been too young for this, I've got an uncle who works for Nintendo, and he said that you remember those playground stories?
Yes, hands down, always.
Elementary school, I think, for me, was like the last time, because I remember when the internet started coming out. Like, now it's like, oh, I read this somewhere on the internet, but like, what site did you read it from? And that makes it a little bit harder. But the Clone Wars, from what I gather, weren't allowed to be touched until the Clone Wars actually came, or like Clone Wars was just like, you didn't talk about them because no one had an idea of what they would be like. Everyone was kind of like, okay, well, what were the Clone Wars? And it was like, okay, well, were there like clone Jedis? Like, what actually happened during them? Yeah, could you imagine? Like,
that'd be terrifying.
Oh, how were the Sith like winning? Oh, because they could clone themselves, which would be a fun, like, unique aspect of its own accord. I think it had gotten silly after a while, but I could see it being cool. I love hearing
the pop that droid in the face with a grenade.
Oh, the droid's face should have been gone, and I'm shit. Let's focus.
You know what? That battle droid saved his B2 friends.
He did.
If only for a few seconds. Took that grenade off the face, and then you had to absolutely gun down the super battle droids. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's in A New Hope. That was some of my favorite dialogue throughout the entire movie. Was Alec Guinness and Mark Hamill sitting down in dear old Ben Kenobi's little hut in the desert, and he's talking about his father, what the galaxy was like. When he was introducing the lightsaber, it was a more elegant weapon or an elegant weapon for a more civilized age. And you can't have dialogue like that in a movie and not have your imagination run absolutely wild. You can't. I mean, it's storytelling at its finest. You say so little about what the galaxy was like before the original trilogy era. Oh god. Back to now.
Yeah, I could use one.